Good morning, Bettendorf Middle Schoolers. Mrs. Temperley back again with Virtual Book Talk number 10. Today is Tuesday, May 19th, 2020. As we head towards the end of the school year, I'm going to be doing 2 of these per week, moving to Tuesdays and Thursdays. So today is my Tuesday offering. From Mac and Via, I chose a survival fiction book called Fight the Wind After the Dust Settled. This is a very short read. It's about 93 pages. I know it's under 100 pages. And I guess I would call this a survival / dystopian fiction book. What caught my attention is the setting. It starts off in a somewhat post-apocalyptic Minneapolis. Minneapolis is in ruins, and there are children who have lost their families who are roaming the city. Gangs have formed, and our main characters, Fix and Cleo, have kind of joined together to try to find a way to carve out a living in this rundown Minneapolis. And if you're wondering why Fix's name is in quotation marks, it's because he gets his nickname because of his skills at fixing anything mechanical, which comes in handy, as you might imagine, in this time. So living in Minneapolis, these violent gangs have formed, and it becomes dangerous for Fix and Cleo and also Fix's younger siblings. So they decide, taking Fix's younger siblings, and along the way meeting up with a couple of drifters who they take on. They travel from Minneapolis to Iowa. And that caught my attention, of course. I like the books that have settings in familiar territory. So they travel to Iowa, this group of 6, and eventually they end up on a wind farm. Now, this might be an image that you're familiar with. We have wind farms throughout Iowa to varying degrees, and also through Illinois. But they find a place to kind of hole up for a while, and Fix manages to get one of the turbines going so that they have some power. Now, it's Cleo's assessment that living here has been okay, but she decides that things are starting to get too dangerous and that they need to keep moving. And she has heard rumors that there are some communities that are forming safe places in the southwest part of the United States, and she wants to leave. So I'm going to share with you the first chapter from Fight the Wind, and I did find an accompanying video today of some wind turbines that you can watch while I'm reading chapter 1. The sun would be up in a few hours, so really Fix was only stealing a few hours of battery. Candles were no good. He needed light in the right places. He needed the headlamp. And if he was right and this setup worked, a couple hours of battery would be meaningless. He and the others would have power. They'd be set, maybe for good. Mom and Dad would have understood. This is exactly what they died for. Anyway, that is what Fix told himself. When he finally gave up on sleep after thrashing in bed for hours, he couldn't shake the image of the gearbox that connected the windmill to the mill's generator. He could see the way they should go together so the huge main shaft would link up with the generator again, so that it would make electricity, so he and the rest could stop running. He couldn't shake the image. He couldn't tune out the sound of the wind and those beautiful blades spinning 100 feet above them. The others were already sleeping, but it was a perfect night to work, and there was no way he was going to fall asleep. When Fix got to the windmill, things immediately started to click. He was at least half right about how to get the connection back between the generator and the main shaft. There was just that one part where he wasn't so sure he remembered the words from the book. He stared at the part for the longest time, trying to recall what Cleo had said when she read the words to him earlier in the day. Stupid words. So Fix tightened everything down. the last thing to do was to engage the clutch that made the shaft engage the gearbox. Then the wind would turn the generator. Then they'd have power. For a moment before he pulled the 3-foot iron lever to start up the clutch, he worried that he'd wake everybody up. The lights in the bunker could easily have been switched on already. It's not like the previous owners of this farm had turned off the lights on their way out. He decided not to worry about it. Who'd want to sleep when they had power? So he pulled the lever and felt the clutch plates grab. Fix knew instantly that something was wrong, and he tried to push the lever to disengage the clutch. But it was too late. An ungodly screech filled the turbine walls, then the sound of snapping metal. The lever swung toward him, and a terrible pain coursed through his shoulder. It was only a couple hours before sunrise, and Fix wasn't bothering with the flashlight. Might as well save the battery, he thought. Besides, in the dark, he wouldn't have to know how badly he had mangled the link between the gearbox and the generator, not to mention his shoulder. How many months of work had he wrecked because he'd been impatient? Because of those stupid words. Okay. So that's chapter 1. And as I've mentioned before, all of my book talks can be found on the library Symbaloo, and the Mac and Via login tile is the tile right next to it. You just need your 6-digit username and your 6-digit password. I do provide an alternate link if you're having trouble accessing YouTube videos. There will be 2 links. One, just click the cover of the book, and that will take you to the book talks. And the alternate link is underneath the cover. Hope everybody's doing well, staying safe. I will have another book talk for you from Mac and Via on Thursday.